Hello guys and welcome back to the Heroes Hype Amateur Series. I am Gillyweed, one of your casters, and your other caster is Anna. What's up, Anna?
What's up, Gilly? How's it going?
You're like, hello.
Hello, it's time to cast. All right,
indeed, we've got a really exciting best of three lined up for you guys. We've got Wild Growth, of course, a fan favorite here, but we've also got the Dinner Excuse, winners of the last game. I think maybe their first time in the semis, I'm not sure, but the first time we're casting it for sure, and I am super excited. Are you ready for this?
I have never heard of the Dinner Excuse before, and I really like it. I like to think about where that name came from. You know, like, was it an excuse to eat dinner, to not eat dinner? Was it excusing yourself to go somewhere for dinner? I need to ask them these things.
Maybe it's when you're on a date and you have somebody who's like set up to text or call and be like, hey, I'm in the hospital or something, so that you always have a way out. And it's that thing. That's the dinner.
That's the dinner excuse?
Yeah. And you can either be like that. I'm going to stick with dinner, or I'm getting out of here.
I think that's a really good possibility. It could also be gaming related, though, because, like, for example, you would know with your din that sometimes you need to go and you need to use the dinner excuse. Like, oh, guys, I haven't eaten all day. I gotta go eat dinner.
You gotta.
That's the dinner excuse.
You gotta.
Which is less cool than the pre-set up dinner excuse call. So I don't know.
Unless you have a custom emote about it.
Yes, that's true.
Din.
That's very true.
All right. Well, regardless, yes. Let's hop into this draft. It has started, and we're going to be on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Hooray! Totsqua, as we call it. Totsqua. And our first ban is Wild Growth, if I am seeing this correctly. And they banned out Diablo, which makes me quite sad. I love the dibbles.
Interesting here. They've done this because we always see Diablo, and I feel like they've got something specific they're going for here. But they've grabbed Jaina and then the Dinner Excuse, who banned Illidan, went ahead and picked up Sylvanas in ETC. So with the Diablo ban and ETC picked up early, I don't know if maybe Wild Growth was making the Dinner Excuse pick up a tank early on by that ban of Diablo, so that they're kind of like, oh, we better get a tank that we like to play. And
they know that they're kind of basically forcing an ETC at this stage of the meta. I mean, unless the Dinner Excuse does something really zany. So they must want to play against ETC for some reason, and they must have some idea of why they don't need one of the stronger tanks.
So I'm getting some confirmations here from chat. It is indeed the first time in the semis for the Dinner Excuse, so congratulations, Dinner Excuse. We welcome you. And also, the Dinner Excuse comes from the fact that we always go AFK for dinner when we're playing.
So it was the Din.
It was the Din Excuse.
Yeah.
I feel like they should probably change their name to that, but I won't hold it against them, if they don't.
I like it. Creative. Well done, team. So we've got some interesting things shaping up. We love to see Tyrande show up. My feelings toward her have changed. I'm pro Tyrande these days, as pretty much everyone is. So we've got Sylvanas, ETC, and Tyrande going on for the Dinner Excuse. They're looking toward their next pick now. Do you think we're going to see another support at this stage, or do you think we will see another damage dealer?
You would think maybe they would. It kind of depends what they're wanting to do here. If they pick up the support, then it allows them to kind of have some sort of leeway as far as still picking a damage dealer who can deal with whatever Wild Growth comes out with, which I still feel like maybe there's something up their sleeve. But could be wrong. Could be just, they don't like to play against Dibbles or whatever. But they could always pick up an assassin or a damage dealer, whatever they want. And that way they wouldn't have to worry about it getting stolen if it's something they really want. They do go for the Rhaegar, so they did choose to leave that open a little bit, just making sure that they can contest whatever Wild Growth has up their sleeves. And now Wild Growth gets to pick their last two heroes.
Yeah, Rhaegar being one of those supports that we see used quite often as a soul support. So pairing with Tyrande, they're going to have quite a bit of sustain on this team. And also ETC, again, a strong tank. So their concern is going to be getting enough damage dealing going on, the Dinner Excuse, when we see that Jaina and Vala have already been picked up for Wild Growth. And I mean, oh, well, there you have it. What do you think of that Thrall pick, Gilly?
I love it. I like Thrall on this map a lot, actually.
How come?
Well, because of the tight corners and stuff, I've seen some really cool uses of the sundering. And aha!
What?
Wild Growth is going with Chen. My day is complete. I'm so excited. So
What
not only
a
do they
competition.
have, I know, right? Not only do they have the really strong combination of Jaina and Vala, but Thrall's self-healing is great. Uther won't have to focus on him quite as much as he would with the other ones. But then Chen, I'm wondering if he's going to be going Storm, Earth, Fire, or if he's going to be barreling people around.
Oh man. And I mean, I guess you've got Sundering as well. So who knows? And this is the thing. So as a caster, I rarely see Thrall and Chen. So I'm sitting here trying to think, what are they going to do? How are they going to synergize? The Dinner Excuse is now doing that as well, because they probably play against less Thralls and Chens, and they've not built a team around assuming they're going to see a Thrall and a Chen. So now they're sitting here saying, okay, do we just take a standard damage dealer, maybe somebody like Tychus? Do we look to a specialist that can do a lot of damage, maybe like Zagara, especially on Tomb of the Spider Queen, which is interesting that nobody's picked her up yet? Or do we try to specifically counter these two strange, zany picks? I'm guessing, my best guess is a Zagara here, but what do you think, Gilly?
So they definitely could maybe pick up a Zagara and just try for the constant pushing wherever they possibly can. They're going to go for Tychus. They want to be able to deal a little bit more, like make sure they have some consistent damage for team fights. And also they've got a little bit of displacement with that grenade, which will help too. I don't think we'll probably see the bloodlusted Odin that we saw of last game, but you never know, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think that, like you said, it's a good call to pick up a damage dealer here, because Sylvanas, while she does deal a crazy amount of damage, is not the team fight burster that you've got in Jaina and Vala. So having a little bit of burst from Tychus probably will give the Dinner Excuse the edge they need, and then they do have, like I said, kind of a dual healer situation going on and a strong tank. So as long as they can protect Tychus and Sylvanas, they'll be okay in team fights, but there's a lot. I mean, I look at Wild Growth and I see just team fight extraordinaire with how much displacement they've got going on and how much burst damage, and then Uther being a strong healer that we know can sustain a whole team. So in terms of this draft, I'm really liking what I see from Wild Growth, although I tend to like the creativity regardless. So
yeah, I think they also wanted to get the Tychus so they had a little bit more of a making sure they had a lot of synergy with that Tyrande pick that they did get. As well. So with her Hunter's Mark, we'll have to see if what Tyrande specializes in, if we see more of like a heal so that they've got a double heal type thing going on, or if she really goes after damage dealing, maybe her stuns as well. There's a lot of different build options with her. But we are starting for Tomb of the Spider Queen. We've got a best of 3 coming your way between Wild Growth and the Dinner Excuse. Anna, would you like to explain to our lovely viewers how to play this map?
Sure. If you're not familiar with this map, it is, as the Blizz devs call it, the knife fight in the closet map. So it's very tight quarters, danger lurking around every bend. And the mechanic is to gather gems. Gems fall out of the abdomen of these little spider minions that spawn alongside your waves. You pick them up. Only your team can pick up your particular color of gems. And then you try to turn them in. The starting price for a turn-in is 50 gems. And once you turn in those 50, then the web weavers will spawn for your team. They are spider queenie type people and her little minions that will go into every single lane and push alongside whatever's there at the point where the lane has been pushed to, and then the price will continue to rise throughout the game. So the order of the day is collect gems, turn them in, push lanes, and don't get dead.
We've got some pinging going on Jimmy, one of the members of the Wild Growth, but I'll go ahead and introduce the rest of them. Jimmy's going to be playing Uther, Killusion is on Chen, Blythehawk is playing Vala, Jordo's on the Thrall, and on the Jaina we've got Grim Reaper SF.
And playing ETC for the red team, the Dinner Excuse, that's going to be Rommel. Caterpillar will be playing Tyrande. Lou will be on Sylvanas. Rando Bob will play Tychus. And Unxandros will play Rhaegar.
It's not Xandros, it's Unxandros.
Unxandros. So he was once Xandros, but now he has been Unxandros and is Unxandros.
That makes perfect sense, and I totally understand now where that name came from.
Well, Unxandros is going here top. There's going to be 2 members of the dinner excuse there to deal with Kill You Zion on Chen. We've got 3 from Wild Growth, and now again, Unxandros moving around quite ably from top to bottom, as in this map there is not a large distance between lanes. They've got a 3-on-3 situation going on there, but easily sending people to top and bottom lanes to make sure that everyone's protected. We've got an awesome looking infested Tychus in the bottom lane here, as we have a one-on-one situation happening.
Xandros getting very low, sorry for that, but does get away. Grim Reaper, Blythawk, and Jimmy were definitely looking for some sort of gank there, and they weren't quite able to secure it, but they did at least force Unxandros to go back.
So the reason that we had mentioned earlier that a Zagara pick may be in the cards is that vision on this map can be really important. So Tyrande, you can see using that that owl is going to be something that will really help them know where the opposing team is. Right now they know that Wild Growth is turning in some gems. They will now have 9 gems to their name. Not a huge amount, but a start, and they're looking for an engage.
Yeah, they would have liked to come in and stop this turn in, but they were just a bit late to catch collusion there. One thing to note is that rotations on this map happen so often from lane to lane because the lanes are so close together. It's very easy to move from one lane to another and try to secure a gank on another team member, which is what we saw some of Wild Growth try to do before, but doing Dinner Excuse did a really good job of just barely making it away from that. We'll have to see if they continue to do that because Jaina can definitely have the potential to get a gank on some people.
Right, neither team having any kills nor having taken down any structures yet, so we see a very even distribution of experience, perhaps trailing a little bit the Dinner Excuse, so maybe not managing to be in the right place at all the right times. Unxandros again putting himself in danger, but being able to get out of the way. Not a surprise, as that is the healing Battle Wolf.
It is indeed. Wolf turned shaman turned wolf. It is nice that he can go into his mounted form without having to channel for a little bit. Not very many heroes can do that, and so that's enabled him to really get away from some of these ganks, which has been nice too. Level 4 talents now up for both teams, and just taking a look, Uther did grab Protective Shield, so definitely going for somewhat of a sustainable composition here. And Vala actually going for Puncturing Arrow for the level 4 talent, but a multi-shot at level 1. I asked Blythawk, who plays Vala, he said, this is my build, this is my own build, and he really likes it, so that's what we're saying.
My build! Alright, Blythawk, thank you for sharing your build with the rest of the world. We will see how it goes. Yeah, I'm interested to see how, like you mentioned, which heroics we see out of Wild Growth, especially with dealing with these 2 heroes that we don't see picked quite as often. They now have 21 gems turned in and actually are also carrying quite a few. Thrall has 16 gems on his person at the moment. So what happens when you die is that you will drop all your gems. The rest of your team can pick them up, but they only have a short amount of time to do so. So really important to not die when you're holding quite a few gems like Thrall is.
Rommel tried to maybe push Jane out of position, but she just stood there and dealt a ton of damage of her own, and they are going to secure the kill on ETC now. The gems dropped behind the gate, so his teammates were able to pick up those gems. That's not always the case, believe me, but at least, the very least, Wild Growth secured that kill and got a little bit more ahead in that experience gain.
Yeah, absolutely. But still, both teams at level 6. The Dinner Excuse just slightly behind. But it does look like we're seeing quite a few more coins being held as well as turned in more frequently from Wild Growth. So I would estimate we may see from them the Web Weavers first. And there they are. Web Weavers are going to spawn. Now remember, they spawn where the lanes have been pushed to. So you'll see Kill You Zion up here in the top is making sure that he pushes that minion wave back as far as possible before the Web Weavers get there. We'll see about a middle spawn on both bot and mid lanes for these Web Weavers. And we will also see that the Wild Growth is going to fall back, grab Bruisers, and it looks like they're going to be really aggressive here, pushing alongside those Web Weavers.
Yeah, what we often see is these teams try to pick up these merc camps right as the web weavers spawn. Of course, once the web weavers are released, the merc camps go away. That's what we saw happen at bottom. They weren't quite able to secure them before they went away. But the bruisers will push a long time. That just makes your push even stronger. So they're actually going to abandon that push on mid. They know the web weavers are going down really fast, and they've moved down here to bottom. They're just trying to, with early web weavers, what you want to try to do is maybe just take out some towers, get ahead in experience, and if you get a fourth, that'll be pretty lucky, but most of the time we just see towers here in the early game. We do have an engagement here, but all of the team members of Wild Growth taking a ton of damage from the dinner excuse. So they're going to disengage there, and all of the web weavers are now down.
Yeah, when you get in that situation, you never want to fight under an enemy structure. You're going to get shot in the face, and it's not going to feel good, and you definitely have the disadvantage. So I think Wild Growth really kind of got a little too excited there, maybe pushed a little too hard in the face of Dinner Excuse. Now Dinner Excuse was able to push them far back when they had to go heal. Dinner Excuse trying to take advantage of that by grabbing these Siege Giants at the bottom, but Wild Growth is back, and Dinner Excuse does not want to deal with that. They're going to back off and let them have those giants. Looks like we actually, did we have a kill there? Some gems got dropped.
They actually picked up Sylvanas. She was pretty far forward in that team composition, and they were able to take her out. What really happened is Jaina took Snowstorm at level 4, and that increases the radius of that blizzard, and it was just like impossible to get out, and so she took 2 blizzard waves to the face and was taken out there.
Now having 3 kills, Wild Growth does hit 10 right away, while the Dinner Excuse is trailing at 8. So it is going to be quite a while that the Dinner Excuse is not going to want to fight, while the Wild Growth is really looking for an engagement. They're going to come in and take this Bruiser camp and dare the Dinner Excuse to come challenge them.
They're being super sneaky here, but they know that they've got their heroics, and there's none of the Dinner Excuse. Rhaegar's Farsight does pick up. They do see what's happening here, but they know that they can't engage on this, and this is going to be a quad of bruisers here for Wild Growth. Do you want to go over?
A herd of bruisers.
Beautiful. Red web weavers are descending. That means Dinner Excuse did get a turn in that time. Do you want to go over the heroics of Wild Growth?
Sure, let's take a look. So, Wild Growth, we've got Summon Water Elemental for Jaina, Rain of Vengeance for Vala, Sundering. The Thrall will take Sundering, so you're right about that. Wandering Keg for Chen, so we will see the barrel rolling around.
Boys.
Yeah, so we've got Sundering and Wandering Keg, and so if you aren't familiar with those, it's going to be a lot of shoving their enemies around and creating havoc in terms of being pushy. And then we have Divine Shield for Uther. Uther is going to take care of somebody who deals damage, most likely. Let them run in and not be touched for about 3 seconds.
Wild Growth is doing a really good job of defending versus these web weavers. You just see them usually start at one end and work your way toward the other, and they're actually trying to go for an engagement here. They're going to take out Rommel really quickly between the damage from Water Elemental and that Sundering we saw. We pushed him right toward the heroes and stunned them, so he wasn't able to get away. And that's just helping them secure that level lead. Now finally, Dinner Excuse has picked up their heroic abilities, but they unfortunately lost ETC during that time, so we're not going to see an engagement for them, and all of their web weavers are down. For heroics, they did pick up Mosh Pit, Starfall, Wailing Arrow, Odin, and the Ancestral Healing. So for sure, no Bloodlust this time, guys. Sorry.
Sorry. Looks like we are seeing another turn in from Wild Growth. That will be web weavers for them, directly following the web weavers from the Dinner Excuse. Now the Dinner Excuse has to make sure to defend smartly, and that's what's so cool about the web weavers is there are too many places to pay attention to adequately. So you're going to lose something somewhere. You've got to figure out what it is that you are willing to give up. It looks like they are staying grouped as 5. They want to make sure that they don't get picked off in team fights because as of now, they have 0 kills and Wild Growth has 4. So they are making sure that they're well positioned. Looks like ETC going to start the fight right away with a mosh pit that doesn't seem to grab anyone. He's going to go ahead and cancel that. And Wild Growth just falling back, waiting to take just the right engagement, which looks like it will be now. We see a Starfall going down. Lou will die. Yep, Lou will die. And Unzandros running away. Ancestral healing himself, so the Battle Wolf should probably get away. Rando Bob running past behind the wall, and it looks like they will only get 1 kill out of that. But certainly the Dinner Excuse did not feel good about that engagement.
No, and on top of that, they've lost the top fort already. The mid fort will go down as well, thanks to Jaina, who was chasing Rhaegar, just decided to stop and instead take out the fort. Really smart idea there, not to continue the chase, but instead just go after taking out the fort. And then this bottom fort's going to go down as well, so while they didn't get any forts with their first turn in, they picked up all 3 with their second, and Wild Growth have got to feel great about that.
Yeah, we're really seeing what we thought we would see as we looked at the draft, that the team fight is strong with Wild Growth. They now are hitting level 13, so this back and forth is happening here where we saw level 10 be hit by the Dinner Excuse. They only have a small window where they're at the same talent tier as Wild Growth, where they can be willing to exchange, and it looked like they were still timid. They did not have the positioning, didn't feel comfortable, and now they're going to be looking to not engage again for quite some time until they reach level 13 and are not at a disadvantage in terms of talents.
Really interesting level 13 talents here from Wild Growth. 2 Giant Killers, so 1 each for Thrall and Vala, and then Jaina actually picking up Icy Veins. So something to note about the level 13 talent here is that Jaina could also get the improved Ice Block or the Sprint there just for, escape or trying to survivability. But going for Icy Veins means she feels so confident with their play and so confident with her positioning that she's totally fine with picking up the Icy Veins. It's like basically rewind for her abilities, and she's ready to deal more damage.
Yeah, that definitely is a sign of confidence, as Jaina is one of the squishiest characters in the game, so if she doesn't feel like her team can protect her, then she's probably going to be doing a little more careful picking of these talents, but she's feeling very aggressive, and rightfully so, as we see just now the Dinner Excuse getting themselves up to level 12, while Wild Growth is well into their level 14.
Oh yeah, and they feel confident enough that they're going after this boss here, this boss in a box, and burning it down really, really fast, already at half health. They have the talent tier advantage as well. They know that all of the lanes are pushed, and that's something that the Dinner Excuse has to deal with. They actually even waited and saw that they had taken the Bruisers, so they knew for sure where the team was, and now they've secured the boss, which is going to be a difficult push here on top for the Dinner Excuse to deal with.
Unzandros being out of position, and Ancestral Healing potentially a bit too early, gets Sundered, Starfalled, and dead very quickly. Caterpillar and Rommel running behind the wall to join the rest of their team who were not there. They were soaking experience in lanes, which they need, but they also need to not die, as it will continue feeding experience to their opponents. Killuzion jumping behind the wall, not worried at all about these structures, funneling Rommel outside the wall and letting his team eat him all up. Nom nom nom, licking their fingers. Now they're going to go after this keep, and Rando Bob can't do much by himself. Lou trying to get a place to poke as well, but they've got 5 members of Wild Growth pushing in on this core here, and only 3 of the Dinner Excuse up at the moment.
This boss is even only half dead now. Now, even though they are up 2 talent tiers ahead of their opponents, Wild Growth is going to disengage here. They're going to go take care of mid, do the safe thing, and get another turn in here. It's pretty early on to try to go for core, and you never know what's going to happen. They knew they were low on their heroics as well, and that their opponents would be respawning fresh, so just making the safe play here and going to continue to push their advantage.
Right, and like you said, pushing the core, maybe it would have worked, but you definitely don't want to take those kind of chances, especially when you're in a good position. You've made good choices. You've not allowed any picks, as the Dinner Excuse does not have any kills on them. So wanting to make sure they keep that clean record and that solid lead, making the safe investment, falling back to take more pressure on these lanes. We've got a Web Weaver in the top lane that's going to spawn behind the wall. And it looks like the Wild Growth will push with the Web Weaver here in bottom lane.
Interesting picks once again for Wild Growth at level 16. We've got Snow Crash for Jaina. I barely have ever seen a Jaina pick something other than Northern Exposure here, but increasing the number of Blizzard waves from 2 to 3. So really focusing on that Blizzard between that and Snowstorm at level 4. And then also Gathering Radiance for Uther, which increases the damage by 10% for each enemy hit using that. So damage choice on Uther means they're feeling super confident about healing. They really want to just deal a ton of damage. They're ready to end this game, and they're pushing in with their mid Web Weaver.
Yeah, you called out the ability of Chen and Thrall to keep themselves alive without needing help from Uther, and I think that's definitely coming into play here. Feeling confident enough that Uther doesn't have to focus on healing, especially when you've got this kind of level lead. Very indicative of the choice that they made to grab these 2 heroes that we don't see so often. They're going to fall down and grab these Siege Giants, so at this point they're really just taking out all manner of insurance policies. But it looks like the Dinner Excuse is going to look for a turn in here and will probably get Web Weavers of their own.
Yeah, they could definitely use a little bit of a break here to just try to recuperate and get caught up in experience, but I don't know that Wild Growth is going to give them that. They're already pushing in here. They will see it because of Farsight, but already Rhaegar is getting slowed down thanks to Collusion, and now stunned from Uther. Tyrande is going to drop the Starfall, but they don't care. They're going to fight right underneath it for now. They take out the Rhaegar. They're after Rommel. They're going to take out ETC as well. They're all up, taking quite a bit of damage still from Starfall, but it's over now, and here comes the Collusion barrel. Insta-kills the Tychus. Throwing right back in there. And now with everybody else getting slowed, stunned, and taken out, will they go for core here? They don't really have much of a push. It looks like they're going to try here. They are pretty low. They've got to be careful. But they're still up to be able to heal.
They're feeling confident about it. I guess Kill You Zion getting healed up slowly. Grim Reaper having very little health, but of course tons of damage. Grim Reaper will go down, so I don't know. I mean, I think they will just barely be able to take down this core. I think that they're willing to die for it. They're just going to keep wailing on it as they each get picked off slowly. Oh,
but Ball is going to leave, and poor Collusion is left.
Wow.
Blythe, how could you
just
leave?
Said, peace out, bro. I'm out. You're on your own. I don't know. I mean, who knows if Blythehawk had stayed, whether we would have seen the core go down, but it certainly would not without Blythehawk. So, all right. Well, giving the Dinner Excuse a little time to breathe here, a little time to do some damage of their own. They are going to take down this mid wall, but certainly, I mean, I doubt they can get all the way through to the core. They've got Jaina up in 3, everybody up in about 20 seconds from Wild Growth, so I doubt they'll be able to end the game, but this certainly gives them the opportunity that they've been waiting for.
Yeah, that keep helps a lot. Now they're basically tied up. I mean, yeah, they don't have the other forts, but they do have catapults pushing in one lane, which is what Wild Growth has as well. They've caught up in talent tiers even. They're basically only a level behind, and not sure Wild Growth was expecting that to happen off of just one accidental core push. But man, they really didn't really take advantage of it. But there's the Sundering. Rommel's already taking a lot of damage and will go down without getting that heal. And Collusion's just in there pushing everyone around. And Rhaegar is going to be the next one to die. Yep, he will go down, as will Tyrande. Jordo and Blythehawk both very low, trying to stay safe here, but still keep the chase on as much as possible. No, Lou! Not Blue!
That Wandering Keg just pinballing the enemy team around.
Man, that spot could not have been perfect, more perfect for a Wandering Keg.
It was, I mean, and just a couple times in this game, singling someone out from the Dinner Excuse, pushing them into the damaging arms of Wild Growth, and watching them just get melted down. I mean, that is what Wandering Keg is supposed to do. It reminds me of kind of the Diablo play of pulling someone out of position, but you have a little more utility with pushing them any direction you like. They will take down the core now. Wild Growth, despite making a little bit of an early grab, does get a second chance, and they will take this game.
That spot for the keg, awful. Was just like, it literally was like pinball, because it was that like thin hallway, and he's just like banging around between it, and people are just getting knocked around everywhere, and poor Rhaegar got kicked right back into, like you said, the damaging arms of his teammates. That was...
Oh, Wizard. That's the title of that game.
What is it called?
Pinball Wizard.
Pinball Wizard. I love it. All right, well, that was game 1, guys, between the Dinner Excuse and Wild Growth. We still do have one more, at least one more game here, but the possibility of 2 because it's a best of 3. So we're going to take a very quick break, and when we return, we will have the next game for you in the series. See you soon.